Okay. It didn't actually take me that long to finish what I was doing. I was very thirsty though, and just needed to like crack open my soda. So y'all got a special secret. Grip it and rip it. Hello friends, welcome. It's Darkwood Day. Best opening. Might have to just start doing that from here on out. I did break my nail earlier, and that's unfortunate. I still haven't clipped it. But that's okay. Howdy y'all, we're here. We're gonna play Darkwood. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be great, but it's gonna be bad. I'm scared, basically, is what I'm saying. Feel like I'm forgetting something. Are my captions on? That's what I was forgetting. Okay, well the captions are on now. I have subsequently remembered. Willis? Thank you for choosing to continue, your gift sub. I appreciate it. Welcome in, bud. I did message you on Discord, by the way, Willis, asking what you wanted for your personal sound command. No rush, by the way, on getting that to me. Just letting you know, I did message. But hey, we're here. I don't have anything to say. Y'all know what's going on. It's gonna be a time. I've been trying to pump myself up about this all day, and I am excited. I'm genuinely excited, but I'm also scared, and I know that I'm not prepared for all of the bad that is going to happen tonight. So yeah. Anyway, do we want to just get started? Should I just turn Spotify off and we just move on over here? And then turn the game sound on? It's gonna be really loud to start, but that's okay. We're on day 29. Let's go. How bad could it be? The answer is very bad. So yeah, what happened? We started chapter 2. Chapter 2 out of 2. Plus an epilogue, but that's fine. We're in a swamp. It's bad here, hence bad swamp. There are centipede men, and there are weird lizard boys, and there is this bad eyeball right here that turns on a light down there. We got a radio that screams at us at night. Excuse me. Right, the single wardrobe that we own got broken. The radio sounds in general not fantastic. Did I turn this off? I did. Good. Wow, it burns through gas really quickly. Here are our new merchants, the 3. We do like them. Hold on a second. Let me just get all of us out of here for a hot second. I like the 3. I think they're pretty alright. They're kind of cool. They got their mushrooms. This one here has this little lad down here. And that's a little disconcerting, but hey. Who am I to judge? I can't show them any items. And I've already traded stuff with them. Which is fine. I think we agreed that today is going to be inventory management. Just a lot of inventory management. Hello, Bono! Welcome in. Oh wait, I need all this. I need these. I need all of these. Because we need to repair some stuff. But yeah, it's bad here. I'm also annoyed because I definitely left all of the things. I left the wires that I need for the table upgrade back at the other location, which is extremely unfortunate because we cannot get back there anymore. I am gonna do that. mean... I wish we could go back there. Honestly, wish we could go back there. Oh, I do have more Molotovs. Okay. Just right quick. Hey, game! Hey, game! There was a big misunderstanding about us being able to come back. Can we just run back real fast? Sarah, thank you for the contribution to the wholesome stream. Fruity, thank you for the contribution as well. Oh, I keep forgetting to grab them. Fucking hell. Okay, hold on. But yeah, it's just bad here. I don't want to be here anymore. I have more Molotovs as well in here. What am I doing with my life? 12K! It's a lot. It's a significant amount. It is not a tiny amount. We've made a pistol. I don't want these. Both the single-shot shotgun and the homemade shotgun, bad. just but a drop in the ocean. Willis, thank you for the contribution as well. Fruity wants us to be an Ooblets only stream. I get it. It's not gonna happen, but I get it. Useless after firing a shot. Is it because it's homemade? Okay, we're gonna sell the medium caliber magazine as well as the medium caliber bullet. We gotta do Spyro. It's important. It is important. What else? I'm gonna keep the rest of this. It's all bad. I know we've said it before, but it is indeed all bad here. Should buy some boards. Is that bolt handle? Bolt handle? But oh, thank you to the contribution as well. No licks, no eating. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We are gonna buy the scrap as well. Okay. They nod. Can we... put the scrap away. Right, we do have an axe now, which is really exciting. I think it's exciting. And we do have these gas canisters that explode, which I imagine will probably be helpful, but they're also going to destroy all of our things if we're not careful. I want this room to open up, but we don't have a key for it. I hate those sounds. I hate them so much. Okay, so we can't fix this doorway. Can't fix this doorway. Can't fix this doorway. That doorway's barricaded. It does actually need a key. It is a metal door. I mean, I can try to bust it open. It's not doing any damage. Oh. Okay. We love your face too! So yeah. This whole place, bad. I mean, I guess I could... That takes so much to repair though, but I kinda need to. God, stop! Stop making those bad sounds! There's a door. Need to fix that. Yeah, it's not great. They're not great. And it's right outside my house, which just, like, makes it even worse. Come on. It's the swamp. Everything is gonna be squishy, and we're not pleased with it. I don't have enough boards to fix that. And that is upsetting. Okay, the real question at this point is this the better building to bunker in? Like, is this where we just, like, choose to defend ourselves? The answer is, it's all bad. There are no good options. I think being away from the radio is probably the better option, though. That centipede seemed to really like... What am I doing? I want this on the inside of that room. If I move the lamp from over there to over here, will it still work? Or does that count as being in a different location? I did some science when I was playing this off stream previously that items that you nab from other locations don't work if you move them to a different location, like a different place, right? Which is unfortunate. But what if I put these here? No, I also think it works. What we can do is we can move it over here and then turn the generator on since we're still at... Stop with the squish. We can turn the generator on and see what's going on then. See if it functions, right? I would think that this all counts as, like, the same place. But also this game is mean. Bad sounds. I'm so sorry. Is it too loud? I mean, this is gonna be significantly louder than, like, anything else we do. Just given what's going on. Okay, okay. I mean, acknowledge that they are bad sounds. It does work! Beautiful! Okay, but do I want to take 3 lamps in with me? Kind of. I kind of do. Let's go ahead and board up that window. It seems to confuse them a little bit. If, if we've got windows boarded up in locations, like, even if it's in a location that we're not in. So if we can distract some of these creatures, freaking great. It's gonna be a squishy sound. I'm so sorry. And just loud, angry, bad noises. Guess what? You're gonna hate this. But I think I'm gonna have to drag that wardrobe over here as well. Maybe they shouldn't put their eyeballs where I walk. Consider not putting your eyeballs in the throughway. Right? Drag this over here. I probably should have kept the other lamp where it was, but that's okay. Look, just because you got to negative 16 eyeballs doesn't mean everyone else is short on them. Oh, yeah, negative 15. Did I say 16? Or was I just thinking 16? It wasn't great. Might have gone to 16. Might have also just stayed at 15. I don't remember, but there was a severe lack of eyeballs going on. Neat game. Liked it. I promise this is the last thing that I just need to move around. We just gotta do what we can to make a safe location for us. We don't have many options right now. Having, like, the two buildings to run between isn't a bad thing, though. I don't know. I just don't like the place that they have given us. I am upset about this bad, bad swamp. Okay, game. I need to be able to rotate the items when I'm dragging them, alright? If you could do that for me, I would just be forever grateful. To be fair, Travis, it seems like a good day for it. It's okay, you've only missed the bad noises of me pushing the wardrobes around, dragging some lights into this building. It's totally fine. Welcome in, though, friend. God, please. All done. No more. All done. That's where that lives. We've done it. Now, where do I want this? I think having it up against the door would be good. So if we just leave it, like, here for now, probably be a wise idea. Oh, this is terrible. Fuck. But this way we can be by our workbench so I can grab things if I absolutely need it. Cooking with scallops? You got this. Just don't fuck it up. It's easy as that, right? Just don't fuck it up. I'm gonna take our better board with us. I'll leave some of this here. We'll leave one of the Molotovs here. Don't necessarily need to take all of our ammo with us. Welcome, Matt. What are we doing? Okay, let's put... Sometimes you gotta make a lot of stuff, though. Sometimes just throwing stuff in the microwave's good too, though. That's what I did tonight. I had one of those, like, Insta dinners or whatever. It's good. Amy's has some good stuff. Is that the trader? Coffee and waffles! Also, I'm glad your arm's hurting a lot less now. Good, good, good. Body of a man wearing a helmet. His head has been severed. Weird book. That looks like our journal. Ketatone 21. And a severed head. Someone scratched out the word liar on the helmet's viewfinder. That is not our buddy. His helmet was different. That's still not fantastic, though. Yeah, this whole game's just fungus. It's fine. Okay, can I show you guys these weird items? Can't. Won't say anything to me. Great. Not really. I mean, it takes place in, I think it takes place in Russia. The devs at least are Russian. It's just a bad place taken over by a forest. I mean, everything in Chernobyl was going crazy. It's still going weird. It's all that radiation, all that fallout. It's fine. Door seems to be blocked from the other side. How do I get in there? Chernobyl's got radioactive wolves now. That's pretty cool. How do I get in here? Are you just all bad? It does got radioactive boars too. The radioactive wolves? I'd listen to them. Okay, I think that's all of the... I think that's everything that we can do here for now. Oh, I guess I could probably make a couple of traps. I don't have a lot of scrap is the issue. It's PC time. Let's do this. I don't want to set these canisters out. They scare me. Okay, we're gonna put some traps here, right? Gonna put a trap right here. Maybe. Trap, please. And then a trap over here. Other animals are in Darkwood. We got centipede men. Got men that are centipedes. Maybe some gator lizard men. Definitely got some rabbits. Definitely got a variety of dogs. Bear, you know what? We haven't seen a bear yet, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. I don't want to think about Big Bear. I don't want to think about Big Bear. I don't want to think about fungus-infected bear. That sounds miserable. Okay, this is where we are. We should probably go to the village. And we should definitely visit the cottage near the junkyard. Lion and tigers and bears, oh my! Can't talk to skeleton. We did loot his corpse, though, previously. Oh, I can sell these. We did loot his corpse previously. Hi, Abby. That looks like it's really loud. It's very loud for me, but is it fine for you guys? How's it going, Emmy? Okay, as long as it's fine. As long as it's fine on your end. Everything sounds so much louder to me, and that's because I've got my headphones, which have their own distinct sound control compared to everything else, I guess. It's weird. Whatever. Fuck. I guess this is all that we can do. Do we go to the village or the cottage first? Let's go to the village. It's closer. I just don't want to be here, basically. Long story short, everything's bad. Yeah, no, 100%, Sarah. That's why I'm just gonna constantly be checking in and being like, is the sound okay? Is the sound fine? Not the tigers. Maybe we'll get lucky and they just won't exist. I don't know. We've only just started wandering back out into the bad into the bad swamp. We, hello? We just did a bunch of inventory management. Tried to settle the new house into being something worth hanging out in. But we're here now. It says that there's a wreckage and I don't see it. Is it over here? That doesn't surprise me. Tigers are terrifying. We've got big murder mittens. Oh, there's wreckage over here. How do I get there, though? Mushrooms over zombies? But what about mushroom zombies? Poor bastard probably died of starvation. Give me your medal. Hello? What the fuck is going on over there? Spooky sounds happening and I don't like it. Sorry, are those arms? Beaks! We chopped it all off last night. It's great. Nah, I'm very happy with it. I've been needing a haircut, and I thought I had, like, done enough to it when I trimmed it up the other, like, last week or so. But, I had the urge. It was there. So now we're just all cool and cute again. Don't even worry about it. Okay, I need to get rid of all this shit already. Someone needs to make a fantasy fight arena. Just plug in this stuff. Fungus bear versus zombie tiger. Go. Fungus bear. I don't care how tough a zombie tiger is. Fungus bear would 100% go. Like, would win. Ah! 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 Get away! I'm dead. Crocodile lizard man. Told you they're around. That was bad. Welcome to Darkwood. Everything's terrible. I need my shit back. We did come across a crocodile lizard man in the tunnels earlier, but it dipped under the water and then ran away. This is the first time that we have had to actually deal with it, though. Is that a dog or a chomper I hear? Oh, not me panicking constantly. Yeah, chompers are these humanoids, but with, like... What are you? Don't throw your arm at me! Dead human spider. Great! Love it! Fantastic! This is exactly what I want. I 100% miss the dogs as well. There, I've said it. I want the dogs back. Bring the dogs back. I should have dropped off what I had. Oh no. Did I search this corpse? I did. I 100% missed the last set of enemies. I would take chompers and That's a horse. I would take the chompers over this. Chompers and dogs, please. Can hear the water moving. Sorry, yeah, no, I was trying to describe them and the bad thing happened. Humanoid creatures with, like, their heads split and they run at you. But the split in their head just has teeth. It's just all teeth in there. Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! They're not great, and I don't like them. It's not a great comment. I think I saw you say bear trap earlier? Yeah, living bear trap? That's fairly accurate. Bear trap with legs. Bear trap that runs marathons. What the fuck is that? I will explore that later. What is this? Just swamp? Just swamp. I hate it here. I hear goops. I hear goopy sounds. Is this house? Where is house? House? Where are you? I don't like our home. But I think I would like to be there. Here we are. We're home. Everything's fine. Oh. Okay. I think I said it last time, but today is definitely just gonna be us sort of getting as much supplies as possible. It's just eyeball barnacles. Don't worry about it. It's just eyeball barnacles. It's fine. Everything's fine. Awful goop sounds. It's hiding an option in this game. No. I'm sorry. No. You just gotta wait it out. You can pretend to hide, but it's not gonna go very well. You're not gonna accomplish anything from hiding. It's fine. No, it's not fine. Pretending you're safe means you're dead already. Please, I would like to refill this saw. What time is it? It's 2 p.m. Ah, yes. The sturdiest material in the world. 2x4s. We're gonna make as many boards as possible. It's extremely unfortunate that it took as many as it did. But that's fine. Lord D. I don't want to waste all my boards on these kinds of things, but I feel like we're just the stranger. It's fine. That's the hatch that we came through. Again, I figure if I have, like, boards in place. I can build a fence? Possibly. I mean, I love Lupin the Third. It's been a minute since I've watched it. I would like to revisit it. I can build fences, y'all. This is a game changer. I don't know that the enemies can break those down? We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Don't break down my defense. I like my fence. We like the fence. Fence good. The efficiency of our oven is at 64 though, which is very good. I mean, some of our other locations had fences, right? And they didn't ever break down, but they were also not necessarily very well built. I'm sorry, it's foggy? I hate everything. I hate everything. I hate everything. Not the air pollution. Oh, I'm worrying. There is concern here. That sounds like a regular enemy. Like one of our wacky men. Hello? Emmy, thank you for the contribution to the wholesome stream. And I'll also do a hydrate. We haven't seen a bear. I can't confirm the bears are here. Bear traps are also very good for people, though. Keep in mind. Good hydrate. There's a lot happening over here. I'll see about potentially answering. Ouch! Bad sounds! Ah! You should be dead! Thank you for the shiny stone! Give me your things! It's very loud in here! Ah! Ouch! Matt, yeah. Watch it, buddy. Okay, let's take all of this. I need all of these. Please get me out of the bad trees. Waffles. Okay, can I need to go back. It is time to go back. We need to leave. It's time to go home. Ah! No! Mushroom Man! No! Stop! What are you doing? You idiot! I tried tried to hit Q, but I hit tab instead, and then I opened up all of the Steam bullshit. And then I blew up. And it is now 6 o'clock. What did I lose? Fuck. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I can go back and get that in the morning. It's not ideal. But it's fine. Character was trying to open up his inventory. He's got to set his backpack on the ground and lean down and not look at anything and take forever to put his backpack back on. I am also upset that I have done this. Don't worry. I am equally annoyed with myself. I had so much stuff that I wanted to sell, though. How far away is that? It's right on the edge of my property. I'm gonna try. Oh, it was at Steam? Okay, well. I was home, game! Mushroom Man, where are you? Where are your legs? Mushroom Man. I wouldn't have done it if, like, I wouldn't have run off if it didn't show the dot, like, in the red of where our house is. Felt like we were gonna do okay. Okay, this is fine. Let's... No, close. Actually, you know what? I got a bear trap. Let's fucking use it. Please. Right there. Everyone eats ayahuasca to get high. I mean, you might as well, right? It can get so bad. It could get so bad. What do you mean, how bad could it get? It could get so bad. Okay, we are forever keeping empty bottles. We're no longer selling the empty bottles. What is that? Oh, just regular alcohol. Okay. Any and all alcohol is getting turned into... Sorry, bad sounds. Is getting turned into... Fuck, my brain keeps shutting down mid-sentence. God damn it. It's getting turned into Molotovs. What are you working on in game currently, Kaysh? I am trying to explore the area a little bit. Generally supply gather because, oh boy, are we low on supplies. Because we got fucked out of all of our equipment. Yeah, so just general exploring, getting a feel for the map, unlocking some of it, and just trying to get items. Fruity. Fruity, no. No, Fruity. Thank you for the bubble, Emmy. But yeah, that's in-game plan right now. Bad sounds. Bad sounds. Yeah, we went through the bad door yesterday thinking that it was gonna be the end of the game, so I kind of, like, prepped, for, like, a boss fight with some minor exploration in mind. But, no, fuck off. Fuck off! Right, I honestly completely forgot that the game opened with, like, new chapter. And so I just entirely forgot that there were chapters at all. I don't know Russian. Did you see Alamia? Yeah, she's back there. Hold on. Just real quick. Look at her! Mama! Have you woken up? What are you doing? Oh, bless you! Kitty sneezes. Hello! What are you doing, baby? What are you doing? Yeah? Alright, good talk. Good talk. She just woke up is the thing. Hi! She's gotta remember what real life is. Give her a pet? I can give her a pet. Hey! It's a llama! It's a good kitten! Yeah. What are you doing? Chin scritches. You doing okay, little bean? Would you like? I can give her a boop. Sorry, I didn't see. Chad is very far away from back here. Hey. Boop. Just a tiny boop. Just a little itty bitty tiny boop. She doesn't boop very easily, but she is hopping down now. You're welcome. You're welcome. Ah! Why were there two dogs? Hey, Panda! That's another man. Stop breaking my shit! Oh my god. It's extremely horrible here, but you know what? The savages and the dogs are fighting each other. Stop! Oh my god! I hate it here. And I don't have enough planks to, like, fix that. Cool. But yeah, hi Panda, how's it going? Please, I have, like, 4 hours. Speaking of booping, would you boop whiskey for me? Or at least give him some pets? I forgot that I have an axe. I could use an axe. You know what? As much as I was shitting on the eyeball outside, it is kind of nice having it there. 'Cause I can hear if something is coming up through that section. 'Cause it reacts to seeing anything. I don't know if that sentence made any sense at all. It is morning. Mama! Sweet bean! Dog. Yeah! Nature's alarm system. The eye hole! Hi! So it is kind of nice. I think with... Sorry. I think with us having the fences up, it makes everything go through that, through this alleyway, which is really nice, because then I, like, know where they are. It's day 30! We have survived a whole dang month. Oh, right, they make the bell sounds. Okay. Yeah, it's extremely unfortunate that they did break down literally every single door over here except for this one. But that means that they didn't come bother us until later. So yeah, the fences are still standing. I think they have to either come through the door over here or come up through this alleyway, which works just fine for me. I'm not gonna... This is how we get into our house now. Should probably move the wardrobe, right? Goodness. Okay, that's where that goes. Let's... I got a lot of meat that we need to get rid of. By get rid of, I mean we need to cook it. So I'm gonna do that while I'm thinking about it. For 960 essence, goodness gracious, that's pretty all right if I do say so myself. I'm gonna want to buy all of the gas off of them. I'm gonna want to buy some boards. I definitely want to buy some nails. I'm gonna go ahead and turn these all into Molotovs. We are going to need to purchase, or at least find more cloth at some point. I am happy with where we're sitting with Molotovs at the moment. Take your time, Sarah. We'll be here when you get back. I guess I'll keep 2 sticks on us at any given time, but everything else can get sold. Keep that up there, and then the rest of this gets to get sold. No knife. I don't really need flares. The shiny stone can go. Okay. Okay. And I still can't show them anything. I'm gonna keep checking. I don't think they talk, so I can't necessarily show them anything. Sell that, sell that, sell that, sell that, sell that, sell that, sell that. No room in container. Oh, dang. Okay. Let's buy the chicken egg. Let's buy both gasoline canisters. Let's buy the scrap and the nails. We'll buy those. And I can't purchase anything else because nothing else fits. That's fine. No, don't sell that. Sell that and that. Okay. And then we can...
Travis is pretty neat. He made delicious curry and brought it to me at work. I like him a lot.
That's precious. That's precious. Y'all precious. Good job being a cool dude, Travis. Yeah, enjoy your curry. Okay, can we... Hi! Hold on a second. I think I gotta grab Lamia something. What do you want? Yeah? You're all excited. What's going on? It's a bean. What are you doing? Here you go. Where is your toy? 2 seconds, y'all. Where's your dumb little ring, huh? Did you leave it in here? Big search for me. Is this what you want? What? This is what she wanted. Here. Ready? We're bean tending, I'm sorry.
Bees?
Beans! Hi. I can't wait until we're done with her antibiotics. Hey, I'm gonna close the window real quick because it's getting chilly in here. Because she's got those bad antibiotic poops. But they've helped her immensely. She, I mean, I haven't given her medicine yet tonight. I usually do that right after stream, but a little bit. But her usual level of orneriness, just being sassy and trying to tell me how it is. But she's doing so much better, and I'm beyond thankful for it. She's doing good. And that's all that matters to me. But, yeah, we'll see how giving her medicine this evening pans out. Can we barricade that? Lami, I can't wait till you're done. Yeah, I mean, okay, to be fair, I think I mentioned it earlier, but I don't remember. She was taking her medicine really well. I had kind of hoped that, the doctors would just give her a shot that would last the amount of time. But I think the last time she wasn't doing too hot, that's what we did. So I get why we're trying a slightly different approach this time around. And that's fine. And I don't want to say, well, she's feeling better, so I don't need to give her medicine. I know how antibiotics work. Finish your fucking regimen. I don't give a shit if you feel better or not. But she's just so tiny, and she's, like I said, she's got the bad antibiotic poops now. And, like, she did really well for the first portion of the dosage that we had to do. She, like, I mean, she would see me get it out of the fridge and prep it and stuff, and she wouldn't run off like the other cats do, whenever we've had to give them medicine. But she's now, like, as of yesterday, just over it, and I get it. I 100% get it. It's not fun, but, yeah. We're all ready to be done with it. It's gonna be great. Just have tomorrow to get through, and then a single dose on Friday, and then we will be done. And that'll be very, very exciting for all of us. I don't understand. I mean, I do. I kind of get it. It's just what the medicine comes as, but like the whole giving your animals banana and or bubblegum flavored medication, I don't like that shit as a person, and I know that their taste buds work differently than ours, but like, come on. Come on, please. Why are we doing this? What am I doing? What am I doing? Chain traps. That's what I'm doing. Right, like, there has to be a way for them to even, like, fake some sort of, like, fish flavored or something. But nah, we gotta give the little carnivore some bubblegum. Also, welcome back, Sarah. Excuse me while I just rant about giving our animals bubblegum flavored medications. It's fine. Can I... Good, those are good things to do. Let's put a chain trap here. I can do a stretch in just a second. Hang on a minute. Also, welcome back, Matt. Good. Whiskey deserves all the pets. Facts, though. Okay. This portion of the house does not exist to us anymore. I don't think it would hurt to just barricade this door. Oh, not the hiccups. Gotta keep you safe from the evil, evil plushie. Also, since we're sitting here. Stretch time. Thank you, Emmy. Ooh. Big stretch. Big stretch. Stretch. Whale. Hi. All right, that filled up. I still have another gas can in our workshop, right? I do. So, and we need the boards. How many do we have? 50, 100, 150 is what I need in total. 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150? Nearly perfect. And then top this off. And we still have just a little bit of gas in this one. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I guess I can water. We call it the big juice, but it is water. Yeah, everyone drink some water, please. Thank you, Matt, for the hydrate. It's big juice. Big juice. I mean, Ooblets Week would be very nice after Darkwood, but I don't think we're gonna finish this anytime soon. Sometimes you just gotta lean into the misspellings. That's all. It's fine. Can we put... Hold on. Before we do that, how much wood, how many nails? Emmy, you gotta see Ooblets. Ooblets very good. Ooblets very good. I mean, you should stream some Ooblets. Just saying. I think you would like it. It's a very good game. I'm glad that everyone likes Ooblets as much as they do. It's a weird game. I love it. Let's put... I think I can accurately speak for everyone that we would show up for that. I mean, I would. But I'm pretty sure everyone here would also show up. 100% Sarah! Play it! Good game! Good game. Good game! Talking about ooblets. Good game, ooblets. I will not be elaborating. The letting of oobs. Okay. I think that's all the things that are what? I don't have any nails to repair my stuff. Why is that the default voice today? Why is this the voice I keep going to when things get a little weird? Muppet Kaysh. Can you imagine me as a Muppet, though? I don't like it. Imagine Muppet voice with a voice mod on. Matt, your age is showing. Muppets are delightful. Muppet. Alright, Fruity, which one? Whatever makes the best Muppets? Imagine me on screen with Kermit. Boop. What Muppet adjacent options? I need to get. I'm trying to get it up. It takes voice mod a second to launch. I thought I had set it up beforehand, but I guess I did not. Oh, voice mod, please. Not Lobster Man. They are puppets. We love the Muppets. They're very good. Of course he is, Fruity. 100% real and your friend. Okay, hold on a second. I don't know which one is selected right now, so this is gonna be fun.
How bad is that voice?
Let's clean that up real fast. Which one do we want to try? Party Time is a classic. But how does it, or how the fuck do I do the Muppet voice? I can't just do it on command is the thing. I gotta think about it. There we go. There we go. How does Party Time sound with the Muppet voice? The things I have to do with my face to make this voice on command. It might be Transformer Case. It's called Party Time. Is the thing. Someday we'll find it the replication.
We could do an underwater Muppet. Excuse you, dog. Underwater with the Muppet. Otherwise, I'm trying to see what we've got here.
Echo? Is Echo fine? I'm trying to say stuff, and I'm waiting for responses from folks about which one we want. We like Echo? We like the Echo? Is that your final answer? Muppet Echo? Let's go. I should probably set up that timer, shouldn't I? It's just, well, I mean, right now it's just me, but with echoes. Is this fine? Do you want this with the Muppet voice? We like brain incidents here. Not always, but a lot of the time. Alright, your 5 minutes has started. I keep losing the Muppet voice and then finding it again. It's a hard one to maintain. So it's gonna be interesting to do for 5 minutes. No. I'm a Highlander kind of situation. There can only be one. Alright, time to go out, do the bad, get got. Shoddy, I don't. Echoes are in stereo, bounce back and forth, left or right. Do you really? Oh no. We'll be here when you get back, Willis. Highlander, very weird series. Don't remember much about it, except I watched it as a kid. Alright, let's go out to the bad forest. Are you implying that small Kaysh and regular Kaysh are in the same room at the same time? You can't know that. Water makes me. Oh no! No, sir! Oh, what is doing? I hate everything. Oh, I don't like the sounds I was making either. Why did it make a second one? Give me that shiny stone. Small Kaysh, normal Kaysh? That's a little shorter than normal Kaysh. Small Kaysh is an extremely high-pitched version of me. I hate everything here. And I've lost the Muppet voice. Oh no. Thank you for the clip, Sarah. Basically, yeah. If Kaysh were a chipmunk, that's small Kaysh. Now, I never apologize. I think most of us find it funny, but a lot of people are just too busy laughing at it. I will not delete the clips you make. What is this? Whoa? Shockhart? We don't want you here. Fuck off, you hear me? You got stones. Oh, okay, bye. I get really excited to watch your guys' clips after streams, especially with the voice mod on, because I can't hear it. I smell like beef. I smell like beef. Oh, we're very far south. Oh. Matt, thank you for the contribution. It's a wholesome stream. I think we can all agree that y'all think a lot of my yells are very powerful. And I don't know what that says about y'all. Fuck. Fuck. Oh! And I can speak normally. Fucking shit! Get me out! Oh, okay. Holy crap. Let me turn off the echo real fast. Not a human spider. Not the human spider. Not the human spider. Give me the nails and the logs. I saw... Fuck! No! 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 Sir! Found the bear trap I was looking for. Are you kidding me, my guy? Okay, hold on. I gotta stop and I gotta heal. Fucking hell. Go take care of your spider problem. I need to stop. I need to stop equipping this. It's a terrible escape, and I hated everything about it. That's a chomper. That's a chomper. We found a chomper. We've got a chomper situation on our hands, guys. Oh. No! Trees! I need everything to keep their fucking vines to themselves. Oh, Lord D. I don't know where I am. And our poor man is so tired. What is this? This is home. I guess. I guess this is home. Great! I love only being able to leave for minutes at a time. It's really like an hour, but, you know, whatever. We need... I gotta put these in here. We're very close to leveling up. Thank you. Thank you, Fruity. I keep forgetting to get rid of the context. I mean, again, I can't do that. I don't know how to set it up. It's true. I did, but without the capitalization, but I'll forgive the goof. Welcome back. Okay, this sucked. All of this sucked. This was all bad. This was a bad trip, and we didn't like it. Fantastic. That gets sold later on. Let's go ahead and top off our stuff. Pretty sure I said it with a capital V. You know what? I might have. Who am I to say no? Not your negative 16 eyeballs. What's bad and over here? I was pretty sure that corpse was gonna blow up on me. Love me some vines. Searched. I know I've, like, been kind of over this way, but I haven't really been over this way, right? We got a lot of exploring to do. do appreciate that there are a ton of logs. I wish that I would find more gasoline, though. I need more fuel, basically. Moral of the story. Needs more gas. But again, this is kind of just the plan for today, is to get as much supplies as possible. I need to keep track of the time. Alright, so we haven't seen them, but I have heard chompers. Chompers do exist here. We're also doing some recon while we're doing this. Just get a general feel for the place around us. Just really determine how SOL we are. I don't... Okay. I don't have Molotovs on me anymore. This place is not great. I don't love it here. Old man doodling in the ground. Good for him. I will ruin his day. It's true. We do have some of the easier enemies. It's... My concern with that is that even the easier enemies are a little difficult if they manage to swarm. So here's hoping that they don't. Sleep well, Matt. See you later. Not the viney tree, though. I definitely... Yeah, there's a monster there. There's a dog there. This all sucks so much. Come here, dog. 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 I hate it here. I hate it here. Everything is bad. Okay. Yeah, we didn't get very far in our little in our bit of exploration today. That's okay. Hello? Wow, I don't like this either. Why is everything so bad? Human spiders? Not great. I think we should head back. I think we should head back home. We got some supplies. What am I trying to say? We got some items with which we can level up with. That's exciting. That's totally cool, Panda. I hope you get some good rest. Thanks for stopping in, hanging out a little bit. We'll see you later. I hear bad whispering. And I need it to stop. Okay, so I've just gone too far entirely. Where the hell is my house? This place The swamp sucks. There's my house. I don't like the swamp. Bad enemies aside, my big issue is that everything looks the same. And that's an issue. Because if it all looks the same, I don't know where I am then. And I don't like not knowing where I am. Also, get cozy. I want to get cozy. Snuggle up. Do the thing. I don't like that I'm all out of cloth. That's a bit upsetting, if you ask me. Okay, that's all the wire that I need for the upgrade. I still need, like, clips or whatever. It might be. I think I think you can get the previous upgrades. Like, as you upgrade, it might be worth getting. It also might be easier just as, like, as we progress through. Yeah, see, I can still get it. What else can I get, though? I'll deal double damage in melee when close to death. Once a day, you won't trigger a trap you step on. Once a day, I'll be able to become invisible to enemies if I stay still. Once a day for about a minute, I will be able to see all around me. I'll be able to heal myself by eating mushrooms, or I can learn my location. I mean, we have to choose some of the back ones, and I think we're gonna get Navigator. I'm choosing. I can't. I can't choose them. They're blacked out. This is frustrating. Alright, I guess we'll get adrenaline. That's annoying, to say the least. Oven, why aren't you working? Is that it? I'm at max level. This is a problem. This is just where all of our garbage goes now. This is a problem. This is a big ol' issue. Navigator and mushroom eating, probably really good skills to have, especially late game. Wish I had known that, but, it's fine. Not even concerned. I'm very concerned. Extremely, excessively, over-the-top concerned. Nope. Nope. Once you've made your choice, you've made your choice. Can't change our options. Yeah. Not ideal. Far from ideal. Really. We are unpleased. Also, you know what? Because we have enough gas in there for the moment, let's just go ahead and fill this up. I was just gonna leave it, but, nah, I think we'll just go ahead and top it all off. It's fine. Let's put some stuff away. I think we're good on boards for now. So really, we just need to kind of focus on gasoline and nails and cloth. We will pull out some of our Molotovs. The sound just cut out and I did not like that. Can't say I was a fan of that situation. Wait, do I have a bear trap on me? Thought I did. There's a bear trap. Let's... Please. Please. Okay. Alright. 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 Woo! Are we ready to suffer throughout the night? I'm ready. I'm not really using that. Can't upgrade. I also expected more to happen with the weird nightmare drugs. Real talk. I also expected there to be more with that, but I don't know. I don't know. There's still, I mean, there's still the potential that it's gonna do something. Like if we level cap or something by the end of the game, then maybe we get a special ending or something. Honestly, I think a lot of it was trying to give you lore. Because the last big nightmare that we had, where we got the box, when we opened it, I guess you weren't there for that, Fruity, sorry. We opened the box because we found the key for it. And it had pictures. Can I pull those up, actually? Drawings from the box. Yeah, we have all of these lovely little drawings. Which it's like, oh, happy family, and then the dog ate a mushroom, and then I guess we killed the dog. 'Cause the dog bit us? And we're taking down the doghouse, and then there's the red seesaw, and then the house caught on fire. And then we're in line with a couple of characters that we recognize. Like the doctor, and the musician, and the lady who had the monster baby. And then the little girls are sad because everyone died. I mean, I didn't do it. I didn't kill the dog. There's some footprints on the floor. The fuck are you talking? What is this? Door handle is covered in slime. Piotrek might have been in the picture. Yeah, who gooped our door? I don't know, but I don't have the key to the door, so I can't open it up. And it's not one that I can unlock. No! No! Centipede Man is outside. Centipede Man is outside. He is trying to break in. I am ready to throw. Fucking hell. Absolutely nowhere is safe. You are correct. I think I got odd meat off the Centipede Man. Hi, Dougie. How's it going? How are you doing? How are things? It's all bad here. We're just gonna barricade this window right now. Just saying no thank you. Whatever you're selling, I don't want it. No thank you. Yeah, how's it going, Dougie? How are you doing, friends? She's beauty. She's grace. She'll punch you in the face. It's true. Thank you for getting that shout out there. How are you liking Animal Crossing? How are you liking the update? Stop! Oh my god. What? Welcome home from work. Good. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're off work. Like the Happy Homes bit? I have not played the new update because I sold my game, but I am here for everyone who's enjoying it. Oh, hiccups. This makes me very happy. Okay, can it be morning now? Morning is coming. Morning is happening. There's me not knowing where my mouth is and spilling everywhere. What if there's an update in Animal Crossing to let you put man in hole? You mean pitfalls? Pitfalls are implemented again? I think pitfalls were in that already. Nah, it's fine. I don't know. I feel like I put in all of the effort that I wanted to with Animal Crossing. What is happening? That's a chomper. It's fine. It's morning. I was gonna say, I also love the morning noise so much, mostly because with it just building up and becoming super intense, it is just this wash. It just washes over me and makes me feel so great and so relieved that the morning is here. I need to get into this dang room. We need to. I forgot I fucking put a trap there. That's fine. Oh, the more you struggle, the faster it fills up. Interesting. Yeah, I want to get into goop room. I don't think it's still gooped. Is it still gooped? It is still gooped. That is interesting. Considering usually nighttime events go away come morning. Let's take a very, very quick break. Your girl's gotta take a piss. It's pee time, y'all. But yeah, I need to go use the restroom. Thank you, Emmy. So hang on. If you need to go to the bathroom, if you need your own personal pee time, now's the time to do that. Get a drink, grab a snack, snuggle up, get comfy. It's gonna be great. If you're trying to do fruity sound, it's Fruity Spruce. It's your guys' full name. I think Allie is the only one that I didn't put. Or maybe I did. I don't remember. There you go. But yeah, I will be right back.
Rain, hell, fire down from the sky. Big frolic. Hell, fire down. Yes, destroy what?
Okay, I am back. Sorry, okay, so Sam's didn't work because I had to set it to a weird setting. For some reason, the chatbot that I use thinks that VIPs are higher up in the scale than mods are. But that's incorrect.
I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
So that's why Sam's didn't work. I don't know if anyone else's didn't work. I don't know why that's the case. But I have now changed it so that I think I've changed the settings so you guys should be able to use it. Mods should be able to use it. It's a fucking weird thing. I'm still trying to work out the kinks there. Dougie, I don't have a sound for you. I'm sorry. I was gonna add one. I just haven't had a chance to do it. Cause I forgot. There's no farts either. I'm sorry. There's no eggs, you guys. My goodness. Also, Emmy, you wanted a baby voice. You wanted the baby. You wanted small Kayshurrr. You were like, you know what this stream is missing? Small Kayshurrr. It is time for BB. For BB.
appreciate the honesty. I was gonna give myself some more Molotovs. I don't want to just use all of them, though. Also, there's a shiny in there, and I want to know what it is. We need to find the key. We need to find the key. Let's sell the stick, the shiny stone, the weapon parts, and these flares. Check it out. Give me both of those. Give me that. Give me all of these. And give me these. I think that's everything that I want. I think that's everything that I want. Except they nod. Oh wait. Cloth. Except they nod. I won't be adding that one, Dougie. I was gonna give you the sound command of Mommy, sorry. Mommy, sorry. Mommy, sorry. I hope that's acceptable. Shoot. I thought that might be an acceptable trade-off. I'm glad that we agree. I'm gonna Cause you deserve it. You deserve a nice sound command. Alright. I also gotta yell at Cyril to tell me what they want as their chat command. Exactly. 100%. Sorry, Dougie. I'm so sorry. Okay, we've... Fucking hell. We have... I guess I gotta check. As long as it's good. As long as it's good. They did break that window. That's unfortunate, but we can work with that. I don't remember how much of everything I need to fix it, so we're just gonna take everything. I wanted to peg you as a Jimmy. Wait. That was an option? Girl, I'll change my name for you if that's what it takes. Legally, I will change my... It's a good TikTok sound. I know I've, like, misquoted it, but... Yeah. Allie, of course I've seen it. I'm chin deep into kink talk. Of course I've seen it. Very good. Where did the boards go? I don't know. I need the energy to make more TikToks. Because I got a lot of good ideas. And I keep seeing some very good sounds coming around, and I keep not doing anything. Oh. I forgot that I had a voice mod on. Real talk.
Yes, put it in the server. My normal voice now. Is it regular Kaysh again? It is. It is regular Kaysh. Good. I wouldn't have pegged you as a Jimmy. Also, yeah, there it is. If you're not part of the Discord, you should definitely join us. It's a wild good time there. We should go to the cottage near the junkyard, right? We should go to the cottage near the junkyard, right? That's probably where our key's gonna be. Goodbye, Army! Travel safely, we'll see you later, friend! Thanks for being here. It's time. It's a good place to put that TikTok. It's a good TikTok. Lockpick. That's just shotgun shells. I mean, it's great and I appreciate it, but I would like something that I can use a little more immediately. What are these sounds? I don't like these noises. Fucking hell. Go away. I should have known. It's a very, he's got a very good voice. Cool, a lantern. Fantastic. I love that. This is exactly what I want. I do want that gasoline, though. Is that someone trying to come in here? Hello? Oh my god, let me just walk into literally every mushroom that exists here. My goodness. What is screaming at me? Oh! And all I ever get off them is, I mean, it do be like that sometimes. Sometimes you do just gotta be screaming. I'm sorry. I don't like the sounds that the human spiders make at me. We don't like it in here. All fire, all the time! Wow, that's that whole stack of Molotovs. I'm sorry you gotta go in early, but also, this is totally okay. Get some good sleep. I hope work treats you well. We'll see you later, Sarah. As always, take care. We're just gonna burn this boy too. I'm not gonna risk it. Gotta sort out those dang trucks. Hopefully. We are cooking boys again. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I always gotta cook some boys. There are too many in here. I did get all three of them with that one, though. Fuck! Okay. Here I was, thinking I was such a badass for managing to hit all three. Oh. Got a little singed, it's fine. I forgot I am a terrible shot now. Holy shit, that's a lot of chompers. Gas, more pills. Please. Do I have enough wire to make another lockpick? I do. Let's just go ahead and do that so I can clear up that inventory space. I think I need that lantern. Pretty sure I need that lantern. There's also a flashlight in here. I can sell that. Seems to be blocked from the other side. Okay. Is this lantern just, like, on now? Okay, it is. Lantern's not bad. I think it'll take gas if I want to use it, though, which I don't necessarily want to do. How do I get in there? Barrels filled with highly flammable substance explodes in contact with fire. You telling me to burn it? Because I could do that. We'll figure that out later. Also, 100%. We don't need eyebrows. Eyebrows are overrated. Vine tree. A tree with vines. Tree that likes to grab ankles. Bad tree. I saw you. We're just not gonna go over there. Could open it with a lockpick. Okay, we'll do that. Search that crate. What time is it? It is 1 in the afternoon. Gas bottle. Okay, that's... We're kind of far away from our house. And it's very dark. I think we should head back. We should head back, drop off the items that we've got, 'cause we got a lot. I feel a little better about all of the gas that we have. Got lots of gasoline. That's great. Fantastic. It's not often that you sit here going like, I love all this gas. Give me that gas. It's a shiny stone. I can't pick it up because I don't have any room in my inventory. That's fine. It's fine. There's a dog over there. Excuse me. I just want to go home. Great. I love dead body just outside my house. It makes it easier for me to find my house. I hate the rain. I hate the rain. I hate the rain in game. It's bad. It's just all bad. Empty bottle. Pills that I can sell. More matches. That's great. Shiny stone to sell. Bread to sell. Shotgun shell to keep. Stick to sell. That to keep. Medium caliber bullet to sell. Pills to keep. Pills to sell. Excuse you. The rain in game falls mainly in Spain? Yes, accurate. This is 100% correct. Why would anyone think otherwise? Okay, I guess I'll put that in there too. And then... how are we here? We're doing okay. Let's go ahead and top it off. Right? Want to make sure that we always got enough enough gas for nighttime, but also gas for Saw. Good, great. We are solid on boards. That's not where the boards go. Put that there, put that there. I don't like seeing it red. So let's do that. And then turn it off. We'll put it back in here with that. Sorry, thinking, contemplating, considering. I need to find other ways to kill things when I'm out and about doing our daily stuff. Because I'm already out of... I only have 1 stack of Molotovs left. And that is unfortunate. It's 4 o'clock. I don't want to wander off too far. So let's... What's that? Nothing. It just looks like a bear trap. Thank you. Odd meat, regular meat. Odd meat, regular meat. Why is there so much weird stuff in these holes? Here, dog. It's fine. We should probably head back home anyway. Meaty holes! They're bad. I don't like them. Not the meat holes. And of course it stops raining now. Beautiful. If we could not, that would be lovely. Alright, well, we've made it home. Hello. I am home. What do you want from me? Also, what time is it? Oh, goodness. Here, I'm gonna keep some of this stuff on me. I don't want the lantern. I appreciate the fact that I don't have to, like, have it equipped to use it, but... No, I'm reconsidering already. We'll keep it. In case we get a situation like the basement again. We'll keep it so that we can just put it on our person and not have to worry about, whatever. My brain just shut down. It's fine. Let's do this. I realize that the way that I've organized this doesn't really make any sense, and that's fine. It vaguely makes sense to me. It's bad. It's bad organization. Put those away. We will bear trap a couple of places. Like our windows? Bear trap there. And bear trap here. I will probably step on that one. So that's gonna be fun. And let's do one more bear trap. Just one more. Yeah, definitely would not at all ever step on her own traps. Who do you think we are? Okay, let's turn that on. Close that up. And, dresser, you usually fit in there. There you go. I don't want to... I want to take these Molotovs out into the wilds with us, right? But I also really appreciate having them at night because it's useful. Can it see me from in here? Only if I get really close, right? Just trying to test the range on this eyeball. Sounded like there was heavy breathing coming in from in there. Eyeball, I'm not there anymore. You can open back up. I am going to put all of this... Never mind, I don't have the space for it. It's fine, we'll keep it on me. And, eyeball is open again. If I just, like... No, it'll... Okay, it does see me every once in a while. We'll wait until morning to mess with that. That's an in the morning kind of thing. Unless... I'm spooked. I'm scared. I'm scared. Call is coming from inside the house. Candlestick? I panicked! Is that a pig? Dead musician? No, not... Not... musician from... who was looking for the pretty lady? Yeah, I mean, he's 100% gone wrong if it's a musician that we knew. Okay. I'm gonna test something real fast. Never mind. Game started making scary noises when I started doing that. There's an entire band around here somewhere. I mean, I don't know. Okay, he's still in there. That night was terrifying. Simply because very little happened. Well, he's not here anymore. Ooh. But you know what? Can't barricade that. Might be a good place to hide at night? What happened was we blew up our friend. Okay, to be fair, I don't know if I killed him. I mean, there's a very high possibility that I killed him. But I'm sorry, he squealed and it was scary. My concern about hiding in here, also, is, if those centipedes show up, I'm pretty sure they can burrow into here. So that would be extremely unfortunate, but that is a thing to consider. Maybe I'll just put this here. Yeah? No, actually, we will... do it like this. Please. Lamp. Lamp, please. Lamp won't fit over there. Unfortunate. Okay, so we will just leave lamp here. But that's okay, it does bring some of the light over there. This will be kind of a last resort for us, right? And then... we'll put this lamp... excuse me, hiccups. This lamp will go here? Yeah? Which means we'll put this lamp... over here. So it just covers a little more area. Yeah? Good with that lamp configuration. Hate everything. Okay. And I've got all the stuff that I need to sell, right? I've got a second shiny stone. That's really exciting. Oh boy. No, the bear trap is there. Trade. Take these things. Except they don't have room in their inventory. Okay, well then let me take these from you real fast. I don't necessarily need to buy any more gasoline from them, do I? I will still continue to purchase it because I have more than enough reputation for it. But it's not necessary. I wish they had more cloth. A lot of the stuff that they have just doesn't feel needed, right? It's like we're doing real well on some stuff. Yeah, I can't show them any items. Let's make a lockpick. Let's put that in there. We'll do this. Put these in here. Nails will go in here. We're doing pretty okay on items. Last night was really just kind of a freebie, which I will not complain about at all. I am happy that while it scared the piss out of me, it wasn't that bad. Let's go ahead and top that off. And then remember that the bear trap is there. The three are kind of making it difficult to wander past them, but that's fine. There's a quarry, there's the village, which I can't get into the village at all. Did we or did Wolf do it? Well, that's the question, isn't it? I panicked and threw a Molotov. I mean, I know you're gonna be like, oh, I appreciate the vote of confidence, but I am concerned. Okay, well we still have so much to explore. Everything is so far away. This map is huge. I'm concerned that I'm not going to be able to get there because it's like on the outside of the map. There might be a road, but I'm not certain. Okay, you know what? Since we've got more than enough reputation, I feel fine kind of wasting our supplies and just repairing all of this to full. Right? That's fine. Okay. Let's do one more day, and then we'll call it there for this evening. I am a little sad that we haven't, like, progressed, but really we can't progress unless we get ourselves established, and we've done very, very well for that today. Considering everything. We've gotten enough supplies. The game has been very nice in that regards, so thank you, game. But yeah, we've got... Did I turn off the generator? Yeah, no, 100%. I have to remind myself that that is progress. Getting a good pile of things. It is off, so I don't know what I'm hearing. Did I leave the oven on? Oven's always on. No, you're right, Fruity. Especially considering, like, how understuffed we were. We have gotten a good a good pile of things. Which is fantastic. I wish I could find... That dog needs to stay over there. I wish I could find the item that we need for the last upgrade. Well, I say last upgrade, but for the next workshop upgrade. But I don't know where to find what I assume is like a wrench or pliers or something. Bad tree. Being able to locate that would be great. But even still, we have a decent supply of things. We can survive on what we currently have. And that's pretty alright. Hello? Give me this cloth. Can we get in here at all? You need to be able to see me. Mom? I think we have guests. Mommy? Ah! Ah! Banshee! Fuck. They don't do a ton of damage. They're still extremely unfortunate, though. Oh! Pliers! That's what I need! That's what I need for the upgrade. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful.
That's your motivation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Woof! Okay, that place sucked. But you know what? Got our pliers. So I am pleased. I don't want to go back, but I want to go back! Fuck! Okay, it's fine. We're gonna continue on ahead. That's the wrong button. Woof! Yeah, that was not a great experience. Did not love that. If I had the choice, would not do it again. But we did do it, and we survived. And we didn't even take that much damage, which is wonderful. But I think that's everything that's here. So let's... Okay, I can't go through that window. Don't like these sounds. And I don't have any Molotovs on me. No. No! I should have screamed. Now it's a bear trap. He ran into the bear trap. Perfect. Let me have this one. Oof. It's getting foggy. Oh, I know this place. We've been here before. Dude, don't throw your garbage at me. You usually have alcohol on you, which is great. Can you stop? Dig. I need a shovel. Well, it's a good thing my house is right here. I have not seen those before. Are those the little dig piles that you had seen, Fruity? Upgrade workshop. Upgrade the workshop. Upgrade workshop. We've done the workshop. Perfect. You love to see it. Okay, again, we're just gonna kind of make a ton of those while we can. Battery can go in here. This flashlight can get sold. This can get sold. I have more boards than I know what to do with, which to an extent is exciting. But also means I have too many boards. And I need to do something with them. I will not complain. My biggest concern is just that I won't have enough nails to do anything with them. I'm scared to dig this up. What is in here? Good stuff. Hi, Mushroom Man. Is this how I get into the village? No, that just looks like a burned out house. Also being mindful of the time. There's nothing in here. Alright. Cool. Don't like that. Hello? I would like to leave. I'm so sorry. I realize, like, I've gone, like, silent. And it's because I'm scared. I am terrified at this point. Dog. No, pick it up. Need a key. Dog, I don't need your parts anymore. If you could just not... Can I... break you? Doesn't appear to be doing any damage to it. I think when it says I need a key, it means I need a key. What is here? We've explored here. No, I haven't been able to get inside here. Nails, boards. Hello? Ah! Oh, please. I just gotta outrun him. Ah, centipede man! Ouch! There are a lot of sounds happening. I need to leave. We just gotta go. Stop! I've died. Shit. And there was a human spider over there as well. Cool. Love that. That's great. That's fantastic. Love that for me. What did I lose? A lot of shit. I lost a lot of stuff. And it is too late for me to run up there and get it. I got an hour. Am I feeling ballsy? Yeah, an hour to get there and back. I don't think I can make it. I don't think I can make it. Yeah, the and back bit. That's what's kind of doing it for us. But I want my stuff. Technically 2 hours. Don't want my stuff at home. But what if I just real quick? What if we just like real quick? You know, just like really fast, just kind of pop out, pop back in. It'll just be a second. Please, my guy. Right, 5-10 minutes tops, you won't even know I'm gone. It'll be like I never even left. I done this bad. Actually. Okay, it took me all of like an hour to get here, but I did leave a little late. Please, I need you to get your breath back. Dougie, thank you for the bubble. Bad sounds. Look, here's Mushroom Man. Well, here's the second Mushroom Man. Here's one of the first Mushroom Men. Give me that bear trap. Give me that bear trap. It's fine! It's fine! Nighttime technically doesn't start until 8 o'clock. But look, we're home. We're pretty much home already. See? We're home. It's fine. The trouble is, so the reason reason we did that is because we're gonna end it after this night, right? And your girl did not want to have to body collect first thing next week when we pick this back up. I am not about that. So, it's fine. But did we die? The answer is no. So it's fine, right? Let's put these away. We're doing a real good on health items right now, and that's extremely exciting. Do love that. We will sell some stuff after the morning has come. Excuse me. But we're sitting real good on items. Like, I know I've already said it, but I am extremely pleased with what's going on right now. We don't necessarily need to keep the shovel on us. Well, I should keep the shovel on us, shouldn't I? In case we come across any more other dig spots. Put it down there. I'll take the lantern as well. Oops. Because it could come in handy. Do this. Yes, this will go up here as well. So then I have two rows of boards. Maybe eventually 2 rows of nails. And we'll put that there. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Bad sounds? What? No, oh no. I think the Banshee is mad. Bork, bork! I'm a crow! Banshee's angry. Banshee's very angry. Ah! I'm on fire! That's unfortunate. That's extremely unfortunate. But that's okay. Every night can't be a winner. Honestly, we've done really well since... It was definitely a double Banshee situation, and I forgot that there was a trap here. That was a double Banshee situation, and that was not fantastic. But that's okay. Because again, we have done pretty dang well. All things considered. I don't appreciate the fact that the Banshees can just open doors and easily push, like, wardrobes and stuff like that just completely out of the way. I don't dig that. Also don't like the fact that Banshees just don't drop items. I figured at first that maybe, like, because we'd only ever encountered them during nighttime events, that maybe because it was a nighttime event they wouldn't give us anything. But we did have the Banshee up in the cabin, and it also did not give us anything, which is exceedingly unfortunate. But that's okay, because we got stuff now. And because I'm always extremely curious. Nothing new in here. Oops. Okay. Is there anything else I would like to get rid of? Aside from all of the enemies. But yeah, this is pretty much just gonna be us doing this. I never use the scythe. I'm gonna sell it. Did they? Did they steal items from me? Or am I just tripping out because I moved things and don't remember how I moved them? Might just be tripping out because I moved things and have forgotten how I moved them. It's fine. It's fine. Buy that, buy that, buy that. Buy these, buy those. Buy this. Still coming out on top. That's real great. I don't know that there's anything else I would like to purchase at the moment. You know what? How much? I do have a little bit of time. And we can make axes now, right? Which is exciting. Can I upgrade the axe? Inflict more damage, better materials. Greatly increases weapon durability. I'm gonna buy another axe head, and I can have 3 upgrades now. That's great. I do love that. We're also gonna buy these. Because again, I have plenty of reputation to spare. Upgrade our axe. Sturdy blade. And then I would like... I think more damage would be good. But also... less stamina? Something for us to consider in the long run. Let's increase our board. Oh, I can't do that multiple times? That's unfortunate. Okay. I don't need to upgrade the shovel. I'm pretty much only keeping that on me so we can... So we can what? Oh, so we can dig up spots every once in a while. Let's turn that into another lockpick. Let's go ahead and make another Molotov. Put that away. Put those away. Put that away. Is there anything else we need to do? I don't think so. Let's put the generator off. Can we? Oh, is the lantern a one-time use kind of thing? I can't refill it. weird. That's okay. Yeah, it wouldn't let me refill it, but that's fine. It goes down really, really slowly, and I pretty much am only going... I'm saving it for when if we have to go into, like, dark buildings. Where there's 0 chance of me being able to light the way. I think that's everything I need to do. Because everything's, like, as barricaded as it can get, right? There's a trap there. I know that there's a trap on the other side of this wall, but that's still barricaded. That doesn't have a door anymore. Is there... There's still a trap there, still a trap there. Might be worth... That's still barricaded. Cannot be repaired, but can be combined. Once the durability is all used up, they vanish. Okay. Good to know. That's what I was figuring, and I appreciate having the confirmation. Okay, that's fine. So... I think I'm gonna leave those doors as they are. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm happy with how things are currently set up. We've recovered all of our bodies. Just gonna activate this to get a save. Cool. So we'll pick this back up on Monday, because the next time we stream is Friday, which means Graveyard Keeper and more indie games. I think I've changed it so that we'll do mirror layers strictly on the weekend for the time being. And I'm gonna take a look and see what there are as far as indie games are concerned. I know that there was a bit of a lack of new ones the last time I popped in, but that's okay. We'll figure something out. Yeah. I would consider this an extremely productive session of Darkwood. We have gotten ourselves back up to, if not better off, than we were at the last safe house. We got a good collection of items. It was just a little bit unfortunate, but you know what? It was fine. It is Flask Friday this Friday, it's true. We're gonna do something with flasks, I promise you. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Graveyard Keeper's gonna be great. But yeah, let's... Oh, God, excuse me. Wow, sleepy. Hi. Let's go find somebody to raid. Say hello to. I know that Nimbly is doing some more Animal Crossing. I've got ATM 0 doing some Back 4 Blood. Calvyberry's doing some Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I kind of want to go hang out with Nimbly, personally. Personally, I would love to just have some, like, really chill AC vibes. After this extremely harrowing session of Darkwood. We all good with that? We all cool with our BFF, Nimbly? Or does anybody have any suggestions, recommendations? Anyone else doing some chill stuff? We do love Nimbly. Let's go say hi to Nimbly. Let's go say hi to our friend Nimbly. There are the raid messages if you would like to come along on a lovely little raid to see our friend Nimbly. They're a delightful human being. We love them to death. But, thanks for being here, y'all. I appreciate you so much. Take care of yourselves. I love ya. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye, y'all.